Hello, welcome to Informative Conversations Podcast. My guest today is Dr. Pamela Grove. She is a doctor of physical therapist, a pain management specialist, an author, and a podcaster. Welcome, Dr. Grove.
Hi, Jacquelyn. Glad to be here. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for accepting my invitation.
You're most welcome.
So, Dr. Grove, we have a lot to discuss, so I just want to jump in here. I want to start off by asking you to give my listeners a little bit about yourself in 1 minute or less.
Okay. As you mentioned, I am a doctor of physical therapy. I've been practicing for over 40 years now, 45 years this year to be exact. Specialize in pain management, chronic pain, autoimmune disorders. I've done all type of cases from orthopedic, neurological, etc. But my passion is definitely chronic pain management. I'm a new author as of last year of two children's books. My goal is to do a whole series of children's anatomy, physiology, health, and wellness series. So that's one of my biggest passions for the next several years. I'm also a patient advocate for those who can't advocate for themselves, especially in the area of the medical systems. I'm also a podcaster, and I will give credit to Jacquelyn. She was instrumental in getting me to move into that direction, and we can talk about that a little bit more, a little bit later, of course. So I'm a podcaster, and that is also an avenue for people to be able to have a channel who can't speak for themselves with their chronic problems. And I'm a mother of three, grandmother of three. So yeah, that's pretty much me in a nutshell.
Yeah, okay. Well, I want to let my listeners know that you were my physical therapist at one time and turned my life around.
Wow. Thank you.
And I appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
But over that time, I've learned some things about you.
Okay.
And you are doing very well in everything that you're doing in all of your pursuit. But I want to go back to, let's say, some beginning.
Okay.
And I want to talk about your resilience and starting over.
Mm-hmm.
So you spent over 30 years in a marriage before relocating, and it's essentially hitting the reset button. So for those who listening and who feel it's too late to start over, what did that first step toward independence feel like for you?
Wow, that's an awesome question. I think it goes back late. It goes back a little bit earlier than the actual move to Georgia. The move to Georgia didn't come until 2022. I think the transition to really starting to go towards the independence in getting out of the marriage was as early as in the like 2013, 14s in that area, maybe even like 12, 11. But I didn't step out. And a lot of it was because of fear. Although my ex-husband, and I'm not going to ever talk that badly about him because we both shared in enabling each other, I feel. I feel that that's important that people understand that when the marriage is not successful, it's probably two people involved in why it's not.
Right. That's very good. Very good.
Yeah. So I had to come to terms with what I was doing wrong in the marriage. And that was hard. That's the first thing, is to accept what I was doing wrong. And I've had to realize that although we were madly in love with each other when we got married, we were not right for each other. That was my revelation, because I think when you're a Christian, you come from the perspective of you're supposed to not get a divorce. You're supposed to stay together. We had the three children, although, like I said, the marriage was not. We had the big home, and I was a doctor of physical therapy with my own private practice, and he was involved in politics, and we were doing things in the church. We were known in the community, and the pride. I could not conceive of people knowing that I had failed. I had picked the wrong mate. I could
Mm,
still go to tears even thinking about that right now.
mm,
That was a hard pill for me to swallow.
mm,
So I stayed doing that for a while things were not good, you know.
mm,
But I think what drove me to know that I had to make a move, and that was like at about 211 and 212, was I had a daughter who was much younger than her brothers, and she had really peaked out in the town we were in this little town in Virginia. And she wanted to go on to do dancing and acting. And I said, okay, Lord, what do I need to do? So I started praying in that direction. And the
mm,
Lord revealed to me that I needed to move out of that town.
mm,
And
wow.
that was wow. And that was gonna do something for me because I would go somewhere and start over again. Nobody would know me.
Mm,
I remember being downstairs at the washing machine thinking to myself, and I never said the D word
mm,
because I never, even back in my mind, never thought of that I would do that. But I
mm,
remember saying to myself, if I leave this town and go somewhere else, nobody would know me and nobody would know anything
mm.
about me
Oh, wow.
or
That's
us.
big.
Yes. You know
Mm,
what? And so I kept that within myself. I never told anybody that
mm,
thought. But
mm,
I remember starting to seek out where we could go. I did have a license in North Carolina and as well as in Virginia at that time. And I had a license in New Jersey and in New York, but I didn't want to go back north. I wanted to head south. So we went to start saying it. I started confessing it. I started saying it to my children.
mm,
And as well as he was my husband at the time.
mm, mm,
I
mm,
said, we're gonna sell this house. We're moving to Charlotte. Everybody
mm,
thought I was crazy. And I remember we used to have a lot of pool parties. We had
mm,
pool parties, all Christmas parties. We had people coming from all over. A lot of food, a lot of fun games.
mm,
We entertained all the time. But you know what, Jacqueline,
mm, mm.
in that big house with that pool and all stuff, not one time did he and I ever even sit on the deck together, get in the pool together by ourselves.
Wow,
Never,
wow, wow.
never.
Behind the scene things that people don't know. But I wanna get to a point that you had shared with me. I want you to share with my audience about you. I mean, because now we're talking 30 years in this marriage, and you're still in the marriage when you move to Charlotte,
Hmm.
and about you overcoming significant fear of driving,
Oh
and that
Lord.
was part of helping you regain your independence.
Oh my God. Oh Jesus. That's Driving was always a fear for me. That
Mm,
driving in big cities, driving in
mm,
traffic,
mm,
we would travel a lot on the road because all of our families live out of town. And I'm trying not to say my ex-husband's name, and I'm going to have to
mm,
say it every now and then because I'm so used to calling his name out. But he would do the traffic parts and the city parts. I would do the outskirts highway driving, and we did like
mm,
that for years.
mm,
I had to attend many, many conferences for my field.
mm,
I will always have him. Once again
mm,
talk about enabling, right? I would always
mm,
have him drive me.
mm,
Yeah. Snow, could not drive in snow. All these things that he would have to. He was my enabler, and he knew that too. He knew that
mm,
I would not go but so far because I
mm,
was afraid to drive in certain places by myself.
mm,
And I remember being in Charlotte in that hotel. We had come to Charlotte, and I want your listeners to know that I am a deeply devout Christian, and I believe in
mm,
confession, and I believe in claiming things and walking
mm,
in it. And
mm,
I remember taking it was my daughter and my husband at the time, and we went to the school where we were going to get her enrolled. And I walked that area, walked that field, walked those areas. I told my daughter, I said, "This is where you're going to go." I hadn't even done the application. Didn't know anything about the application. But I claimed it.
mm,
I walked.
mm,
We went back to the hotel. I went around the areas, asked people where will be the good place to get a apartment.
mm,
I started packing up the house. But my
mm,
family and friends thought it was crazy. I told them
mm,
that last pool party, I said, it's the last pool party you're gonna have here. Christmas, I
mm,
didn't put any decorations up. Everybody thought it was crazy.
mm, mm.
I sat there in that hotel, and I know it was nothing but Satan
Mm,
speaking through him. He looked
mm.
at me. He said to me, "I don't know how you're gonna make it here by yourself."
Oh my
And
goodness.
I tell you, fear came upon me so strong. Thinking
Mm,
to myself, "Oh my God, he's right. I'm going to
mm,
drop around Charlotte here. I'm not."
mm, mm, mm. But I thought he moved to Charlotte with you.
But let me explain. I'm going to tell you. This is how God
Okay.
works. This is how God
Mm,
works.
mm,
So the first move, because we had a big house, so we had to
mm.
do it at more than one move because we was
Right.
downsizing to a 2-bedroom apartment from
Okay.
a big house. So
Okay.
we did the major move the first time, everything together, put things in storage, and brought things down. But God worked it out where he had to go back.
Mm,
And my daughter and I stayed.
mm,
Okay. Now, the
mm,
thing is, I thought he was going to go back and be back the next day or so. Well, my daughter's auditions was set up and it already
mm,
pre-set up at the school.
mm,
She had to audition to get into the school. And I
mm.
knew that I would have to drive her down 85 to the
Oh,
auditions.
mm,
And I could not let her know that I was afraid to drive her. She didn't have no
mm,
idea.
mm,
And I said, "Oh my God, Lord, what am I going to do?" And I tell you, I was terrified, Jackie. I was terrified.
mm,
But you know what? I
mhm,
got in that car because I wanted
mhm.
her to focus on the audition. She was nervous enough about the
Right.
audition.
Right.
I didn't want her to think about anything else but that audition. And I
Mhm,
drove down that 85, and I knew if I made it to that school for that audition, from that point on, I was going to get better and better at it. And I did. It was over course of time.
mm.
I just started pushing
Wow.
myself. By the time he came to Charlotte, because it took him almost a good 3 weeks or 4 weeks before he came.
Mm.
I was all over that city.
Oh my goodness.
And he looked
Oh
at
my
me.
goodness.
He looked at me with such, it was like it was a vengeance. Like looked at me like,
Mm,
I cannot believe you can do this. You can do whatever. I said, I didn't say nothing. I just said, Lord,
mm,
thank you. Yeah.
mm. So, oh wow. I want to say something. I want you to share this with my audience. So something about this. Your brother, your brother has shared
Hmm.
a powerful prophecy about your success being tied to a major life change.
Hmm.
And so I want you to
Yeah.
share that with them and then share how did you reconcile that spiritual insight with the reality of leaving a long-term marriage?
Yeah, I would say my brother was very intuitive. He was a bishop. He died in 2020. Oh my God, I miss him so much because he was my
Mm-hmm.
confidant, and that was another jealousy between my ex-husband because he saw that my brother often checked on me in
Mm-hmm.
ways that he did not. But my brother felt led to do that, and I don't think I know that God had him doing that because I had no idea he was going to die in 220. But God knew
Mm-hmm.
that my journey was going to be where we are today.
Mm-hmm.
And those years, I remember him having conversations with my husband at the time and telling him things like, "Man, you're going to have to step up. You need to be doing X, Y, and Z. This is the type of wife you have.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't, that you're not going to go no further or whatever." And of course, my ex-husband did not heed to that. He had been warned with that by other ministers as well because we had
Mm-hmm.
counseling several times,
Mm-hmm.
and he never
Wow.
heeded to any of that. So my brother finally told me. He
Mm-hmm.
said, "Pam, I'm going to tell you." He said, I'm not a big advocate of divorce." He said, "But you're not going to ever go no further than where you are right now if you stay
Mm-hmm.
if you stay connected to him."
Mm-hmm.
And I had reason to also because he was stepping out of the marriage. He would never admit it, but he
Mm-hmm.
was gone for weeks and weeks at time. We didn't know where he was. We know he stepped out the marriage many times, but he would never
Mm-hmm.
admit that. But
Mm-hmm.
I
Okay.
tell you, and there's so much to tell about that. I can't even
Yeah,
really
yeah, so
dive
yeah,
into
so
that.
yeah.
But
Uh,
I never forgot my brother told me that, and I'm just gonna share this real quick because I know I don't want to run out of time.
mhm,
But we were in 2018. We got back to because we had separated for a little bit in that about a year or two ago, and then we got back together, and that was foolish, but we did.
mhm,
And God told me not to do that, but I was disobedient, and we went back together, and it was horrible. That the first few months was awesome, was like a honeymoon stage, and then that soon failed. And in 2018 December, I was blacklisted from a company because I exposed some information. And so at that point, with me being blacklisted and the stage I was in my career, I was overqualified, so I could not get a job. So here I was, and my ex-husband, he's my husband at the time, he knew. I told him, I said, things are going to start to happen quickly. I will no longer have insurance. I need to move on to your insurance. My baby girl was already still in college, or our baby girl, I should say. I think she was in maybe her second year at that time, so she was still in college. And he said he had my back, okay? But when things finally came out, I was totally out. I was booted out. I had no funds coming in.
Wow.
And here it was January 2019. We were still in a marriage. He had said so many ugly things to me that I can't even begin to repeat, to let me know that he no longer wanted the marriage. And although we were still in it. And I remember in January of 2019 saying to the Lord, what do I do now in 2019 in this day? Because I was years ago when I was in business, I had staff. They did all the tech stuff for me. They did all the computer stuff. And this is before we're in the big social media age. Even 2019 was not as big as it is now, but it was still in the era where I had no idea even how to even start a business over again. Because we had closed down the businesses in Virginia. We had, stopped all the businesses. And so when I was in Charlotte, I was working as an employee. I was no longer in business.
Right.
So I had
so you asked God. Okay, so let's go back. So you asked God in 2019, what do you do?
Yeah. And Jacquelyn, I was out of choices. I had to start a business again because I could not get employed.
Right.
And
so you were still married and you started another business?
Yeah, we were married. We were sleeping in the same bed, unfortunately so.
Right. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We were sleeping in the same bed, and my daughter was I can't keep saying our daughter, but I say my daughter because he wasn't providing any financial support for her. I was still trying to make sure things were happening for her.
Okay.
And so, but was no money coming in, and me as a doctor of physical therapy, 40. But that time it was 2019, so maybe it was like 38 year 40. I can't remember what year it was. I was almost 60. Almost, it was going to be my year I turned 60, and that was devastating too. How can a person at 60 years old in this day and age in technology start over again? And when I was in Winston-Salem, and when I was doing travel assignments, because that was kind of my free travel assignments, was giving me a little bit of my liberation. I started doing travel assignments. God gave me this term metanoia. I had never heard the term metanoia before. And that term had come to me back then. I had written it down, but I never knew. And I had told my daughter, I said, this term means to make a turnaround, make a conversion. It's a spiritual term, but it's going to mean to completely make a change. So that term started to speak to me as well, making a change. Then education was always my passion. I had also was going to school to get my doctorate in education. That's another long story too. And so I said, okay, Lord, what do I do? And he brought up that metanoia back up to me again in January of 2019. We're still in marriage. And Metanoia Education Wellness Center. That's what we started in January 2019.
Wow. Okay. So wow, that's so I want to talk about the because you mentioned this overcoming the tech fear. So you've overcome your fear of driving, and now you got your business, and you got to overcome the tech fear. So you mentioned, you always say you're not the most tech savvy person, but you have a podcast. You have a pain management guide with videos. You have 2 books. And so I want to ask you, how do you navigate the digital requirements of a modern business without getting overwhelmed?
Well, I always say God has a ram in the bush.
Mm,
He always has a ram in the bush, and he always open doors. The word of God tells us to knock, and the door should be open, and seek, and you
mm,
shall find.
mm,
So when I opened that business, I had no clue. I really had no clue of how I was even going to pursue it. I know what he
mm,
gave me, what he told me about the
mm,
educational part of it. And I really didn't know how to put it together, especially the
mm,
tech part of it. The first person I reached out to was my one of my best friends from college. I knew she knew a little bit more than I did. So I reached out to her. I don't know if you want me to call names. So I reached out to
mm,
her,
mm,
and Darlene came to my rescue. She started helping me come together. I was giving her what God was giving me, and we started to come together. I was starting to put together the pain kit that has really revolutionized now. That started back
Yes, it
then.
is. Yeah. Wow.
And be
Wow.
honest with you, that started back way long time ago. As I had, so that's what my brother was trying to show me. I did so many things with the business part of it that I was doing that way long before people doing this stuff now, a long time ago.
Okay, I wanna say something right here. So the pain management, it's taking the reins, right?
Mm-hmm.
The
Yeah.
pain management, there's a pain management booklet with the videos.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And this past Christmas 2025, you ran a special on that.
Mm-hmm.
And you are right now, a person can purchase that. So you're telling me that how many years ago was this developed? And now it's just not. How many years ago was what did you first start on it, the vision?
Oh God, like I said, it goes back so far. I say it's like having all these babies that you're trying to birth that you've never been
Mm,
able to birth. They're inside of
mm,
you. I got so many
mm,
babies still to be birthed, and that's what I'm saying. And that's what I want to tell your listeners. I'm quite sure there's a lot of people out there that they got babies that they have not actually delivered.
mm.
I tell you,
Oh,
because
this.
oh my goodness, I would have to take days to go through all this, but when and that's why I always kept going back to God, even now with my frustration now, even with some things I don't see now happen yet, in the financial realm yet, the way
Mm,
I want to see it, I still
mm,
go back to Him and say, Lord, am I missing? And He keeps telling me, no, you just stay on the
mm,
journey,
mm.
just stay the course.
So that's what you want to say to the listeners: stay the course, stay
Stay,
on the
stay,
journey.
stay the course. Stay on the
Mm,
journey. Revamp and see
mm,
what you need to do better. I know for
mm,
me personally, 2026, I have to get more organized
mm,
and step back a little bit because I think I took on a little bit too much for 2025. But
mm,
my big revelation I went into prayer and fasting was to stay the course. I'm not
mm,
off track. Um,
mm,
but the tech thing, yeah, I started with Darlene, and we started the paying kit thing, and we did it what we could do with it. I
mm,
finally got it open. It took me 6 months to
mm,
finally get someone who agreed to me to open up a little place in the sports center in
mm.
Concord.
Oh, praise
Yeah, and
God.
that's how,
Mm,
yeah, and that's how, because I had gone, decided to go and get my dry needling certification. So dry needling is like acupuncture. God told
mm,
me to do that. I took money that I don't know where I got the money. God always provides.
mm, mm, mm,
Because
mm,
in that 2019, this probably was the worst year of the marriage.
mm,
That those 6 months I could not get employment. So I did the dry needling course, but it was cost thousands of dollars in that
mm,
February. And he was
mm,
upset with that because couldn't imagine why I would want to go do that. But
mm,
God knew. God knew.
mm,
And
mm,
it was so bad where I was the doctor of physical therapy. I was driving around doing DoorDash just to get
mhm,
money
mhm,
for each day to be
mhm.
sure, because he wasn't helping me with that.
Right.
Um,
Mhm,
and my baby was up in Chicago going to the food bank. That's how
yeah.
bad we had it. You know.
Yeah. Do not despise humble beginnings.
Oh, honey, I got
Mm.
so many. I was throwing around doing joy. I was telling my daughter, I was like, "Girl, I'm driving for my life here."
which was true.
Driving for my life here. Lord have mercy. But
So
I got that opening in June. Two things opened up in June. Got that sports center opened up in June, and
of this year, of last
no,
year.
no, of 2019, girl.
Wow, wow.
Cause see, that's that. I was still in the marriage,
Okay,
and
okay, open up.
I had to find a way to get
Mhm,
back financially set so I could move out. Cause I knew I was going to move out.
mhm,
I just didn't have the funds to do it. I was just biding
mhm,
my time and trying to figure out how I was going to do it.
mhm,
So in 2000, I finally got the funds in 2000, December 2019 is when I went out. I remember my brother, he's called me Dr. Grove.
mhm.
He called me in 2006. It was 2000, it was December 16, 2019. He said, Dr. Grove, how you feel? And I went to listen to know. I said, I feel at peace finally.
Wow,
I feel at peace.
wow.
So the tech thing, I think that was just still was. I remember having to drive. Darlene was in Fayetteville. I was in Concord. My ex-husband fought that. And I would cry on the phone to Darlene because she would try to tell me how to do certain things, and I could not understand it. Because
Mhm,
I'm a kind of person where you can't just tell it to me, especially I did not know the computers. I had to see it. She said, Pam, just come this way and I'll go over it with you. Oh my goodness, he was no, you're not doing that, you know.
mhm, mhm,
And having to drive, and then I decided I was going to go anyway, and then he said I was going to go and come right back and not stay the night. He was just insanely jealous.
mhm.
They thought, that thing, it was just ridiculous. But that was
Okay.
the beginning of some of the stuff. It was more than that. I can go into a lot of little
Yeah,
things,
yeah.
but
Okay, but yeah, we'll wait for your book. So,
yeah.
okay, okay. So, what would you say to a person that has a goal, has a dream, and they have obstacles, and they feel like they don't have they're not tech savvy, which now you almost have to have it, and they can afford to hire someone to help them. So, what would you say to them?
Well, a couple things I did because, be honest with you, I think you're going to have to finally branch out. You will have to branch out. And I
Mm,
realized that in 2025 as well, because you'll come to a point where you're at a standstill. And I had to do certain things to branch out. But one thing I
mm,
did do, because I noticed that I was afraid to push keys on the computer in the computer and to try things because I didn't know what they
mm,
meant. So I had a membership, and foolishly so, I did not even know of this. I was paying
mm,
at Geek Squad or Best Buy,
mm, mm,
and I just stumbled on that, and I went there one day and found out that they could show me a lot of things that was I didn't know I could find out.
mm. Wow.
So my daughter was like, Mom, I'm so proud of you. So yeah, I
Mm,
started going to Geek Squad and making little appointments with them. And I
mm,
was awful. I mean, I would say, slow down, baby. You got an old woman here, slow down.
mm.
And that was one thing. So I think one thing is coming to the realization that you know that you have a weakness. That's something you got to come to realization about that. Find out little small things you can learn.
Mm,
Even when you were helping me with the podcast, and we'll get into that.
mm,
I had no clue that we was going to do the podcast. I was starting the books at that time, and that was not the
mm,
children's book. That was another book. I was on a journey for the chronic pain,
mhm,
and you said, Pam, you have the makings of a podcast, and I'm like, I do,
mhm,
although that was something that was in the back of my mind at some point
mhm,
too. But I
mhm,
had no clue, how am I going to put this podcast together? And here comes
mhm,
the thing about the ram in the bush. I remember just working with in this clinic that I was doing a contract for, and I can't even remember the day. I haven't seen that guy again, but
mm,
he was there, and he was like, "Oh, I can. You, what do you need?" And I was like, "I just need somebody to help me be able to show me how we can get these podcasts like edited and put it in, and add
mm,
the song, and add the stuff." He
mm,
said, "Oh, I can help you with that." I'm like, "You can?"
mhm,
Girl, I
mhm,
can give
mhm.
you numerous stories like that. That's what I'm
Wow.
saying about the door opening. God would he would bring the opportunity. And
Yeah. If you're
um
obedient, if you are willing and obedient, you shall eat the good of the
yes,
land.
yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
that's even for this year, for 2000. Like my
Mm-hmm.
daughter would say to me, She was in Chicago, and my
Mm-hmm.
kids never had patience with me when it came to trying to teach me stuff with the, you know, they were so hard on me, but they would never give me, they never had patience to teach me stuff. And so I
Mm-hmm.
would always, you know, cry, and they would never listen. They did not
Mm-hmm.
respond to that. But she
Mm-hmm.
would see me put stuff on social media, and she would say, Mom, you can't put that out there like that. And I'm like, what do I need to do? But she could not tell me from afar because
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand it. I had to be
Mm-hmm.
one, you had to be in front of me to show me.
Mm-hmm.
So I start to learn that, you know what, you're gonna make mistakes. So I want the learners to
Mm-hmm.
know that you,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you do, it's not gonna be the end of the world. I had to learn that.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have to keep trying things. And I had to learn
Right.
that. So
Mm.
I just
Oh,
started
that's
to,
good.
things would come up. I started involving myself in different things here and there, and everything I got myself involved in, I started learning a little bit more, a little bit more. That's what I did. I got associated with Change Church in 2024. That was mine revelation for me because a lot of things that I had buried inside me,
Mhm.
um, Dr. Darius let it clearly. This is what you need to do. If you
Yes.
got this inside,
Right.
you gotta go for it. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I
Right.
had to overcome a lot of my own insecurities.
Mm-hmm.
So the text part was just one of the things. I say the tech part as well as the inability to think I can do certain things and how I would do it because I didn't. I'm one person here without
Right.
no big
Right.
finance, no with no big bank
Right.
account.
Right. And so that's that. Okay, that's what I want to take me to my next point. So you brought back something that I would call old school, but it
Mm,
still works today. And
mm,
I saw you do this, and I was like, wow.
mm.
And it's called bartering, the art
Mm-hmm.
of bartering.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you successfully use bartering to build your brand.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
how do you go about determining the value of your services compared to what someone else is offering to ensure it's a fair exchange?
Well, first of all, I don't think it's going to be an even exchange all the time. That's the first thing.
Oh,
I think you have to
okay.
realize that too. I think sometimes we think that we're worth more than what we're worth. It's pride. But if you find out there's someone who has some skill that you don't have, I think you need to humble yourself and say, well, what can you offer that person? Because maybe that person needs something too.
Mm,
So I think that's where it comes, and for me, that's where it comes from first, is saying,
mm,
okay, Lord, because God always he'll show me somebody. He'll say,
mm,
so and so and so and so. And I'm like, really, Lord?
mm,
Like to myself,
mm,
like, really, Lord? Not knowing what that person could even bring to the table.
mm,
And so then, listening to him, I would say to that person, do you know how to do X, Y, and Z? And they'll say, oh yeah, I know how to do that. And I'm like, wow. So do you need X, Y, and Z? And they will say, yeah. I said, well, you know what? I can help you with that. And they said, really? So that I think
mm,
that's where it comes from. Not so much well whether
mm,
it's going to be an even exchange. Because be honest
mm,
with you, I think my service is worth a lot, probably a lot more
mm,
financially
mm-hmm.
than a lot of people I
Yes,
barter with.
yes, yes. Oh, that
But
is so good.
but it gives me another thing that I don't have. So it gets me to another level. Yeah. So
Right,
that
right.
willingness. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow. And
Yeah.
I love your confidence to even ask,
Mm.
to even go out because you don't know if you don't ask. So
Yeah.
um
Yeah.
and so with that, so in this world, a lot of people are obsessed with scaling and profit margins. So
Mhm.
how do you handle the financial side of your business while keeping your bartering community thrive?
I think I haven't still completely mastered that yet. I think that's my journey
Mm,
for, I think that's going to be where
mm,
we are for 2026, turning the corner. It really hasn't what one of my mentors has said to me, and this is 2025. I invested a lot of money in 2025. I had to make a decision
mm,
to just spend the money.
mm,
And
mm,
that was something I just had to do. I knew that
mm,
I would suffer consequences as far as more physical strain, but it was a do or die.
yes.
So I had to make a decision to make more financial decisions, and that's where I am now. So I'm looking at now, seeing some of the fruit of it. I learned a long time ago
Mm,
that you have to put seeds in fertile ground.
yes. Oh, that's good. That's
Okay,
good.
so
Okay.
I had to that's where I started doing in 2025, and that's what's going to start to show in 2026. So if I look at what a lot of other people are doing, and I don't do that, I take my eyes off of other people, because when I start looking
Mm-hmm.
at what other people are doing, I
Mm-hmm.
can get frustrated or discouraged, and
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep my eyes on my goals and
Mm-hmm.
what I feel God has called me to do and stay in my lane.
Mm-hmm. That's
Um,
good.
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
That's good.
yeah.
So I want to, because we got to wrap it up. I want to go talk to you about something. So I want to talk to you about thriving in your latter years. So
Mhm,
as a pain management specialist,
mhm,
you understand the body deeply. So
mhm.
how has your professional knowledge helped you manage the stress and physical demands of being an author and creator in this stage of life?
Well, we can know something and we don't apply it to ourselves as well.
Oh, that's good. That's good.
And I'm definitely guilty. I'm guilty of that myself, being very transparent. But cortisol, your cortisol level, cortisol is a hormone, and when you are under stress, that level goes up greatly. So as a result of that, it causes you to have more pain. It causes you
Mhm.
to have, weight gain, all these kind of things that I have
Mhm.
experienced as well. But you have to come to terms with, and to teach people this, you have to also try to apply it to yourself. But you have to come to
Mm.
terms where you got to be willing to make changes. And I think that's where it comes. I think people, and I'm trying to be careful what I say.
Mm.
I even those with chronic pain, I think lots of times we want to use our physical pain as an excuse for why we're not doing certain things, but we
Mm.
don't want to come to terms with what we are not doing that we could be doing.
Mm. Oh, that's good. Mm.
Okay. So
Mhm.
that part of it, taking some of the stresses off by changing. My daughter said something to me, and she does have chronic pain. She
Mhm.
said she was listening to Sarah Jakes
Jakes Roberts.
Roberts. She
Mhm.
listened to her a lot. And she
Mhm.
said, Mom, she really emphasized about getting yourself more organized. And so
Yes.
she
Mhm.
said that she, even for herself, she had to start to just get herself more organized over the days when she did have flare-ups.
Mhm.
She can exist a lot easier. She can just go
Mhm.
and pull this and pull that because she was more organized.
Mhm. Yeah. And
So
go ahead.
So what I'm saying is, yes, it's hard when you have physical pain, but
Mhm.
also you got to remember you have to look at what am I doing to add to my stressors? Am I saying yes to things I should not be saying yes to? I can speak on relationships with with the opposite sex or family members. I can go into all
Right.
those things.
Right. So,
And I
so, so
Go
with
ahead.
that, wait a minute. So the point I want to make here is, so with what you just said, and you
Mm-hmm,
being a pain management specialist, we're still
mm-hmm,
on that. So
mm-hmm.
with what you just said, and you being a pain management specialist, can you try to bridge the gap between physical pain and the pain of staying in the wrong situation?
Yeah, it comes to willing to change, and that's why with metanoia, it's like this is all God. This is all intricate. I can't separate things. It's just so intricately related. That's why I know it's all God ordained.
Mm.
Because, and I always say in my thing, remember, it's all about the change. You got to
Mm-hmm.
keep
Yep.
saying to
Yep.
yourself, are you willing to make changes?
Mm.
So, in
Mm.
order for you to get some of the stresses out of your life, you got to sort to look at yourself and say, what am I doing, even in this wrong situation? I had to step away
Mm.
from that marriage. I had to step away from some of the things I was doing because it was adding so much more stress to me. It was keeping me from doing things that I could ever do. But what did
Mm.
that mean? That meant that I was going to be by myself. That meant that I was
Mm.
going to, even with the little bit of help that I was maybe getting from him, I
Mm.
wouldn't have that anymore.
Mm. Oh,
But
that's good.
I can go down
Mm.
the list. So you have to
Mm.
make it's all about deciding to make a change. You have to
Mm.
and if you have faith and you say that you have faith, this is when
Mm.
you're gonna find out if you have faith.
Mm. What's the biggest misconception people have about having a business later in life, and how are you proving them wrong?
I go back to Colonel Sanders and my brother long gone. We talked about that a lot. We would crack up because I would say to
Mm.
him, Daryl, don't you know, blah, blah, blah. And he would say to me, Pam, You know how old Colonel Sanders were for Kentucky
Yes,
Fried Chicken? How
yes,
old he was,
yes, yes.
you know? And I
Mm,
think I can't remember the exact age, but he was definitely over 60.
yes. Yes,
And he
I
would
hear
say that
that.
to me. He would say, Pam,
Mm,
you got so much in you that God wants you to bring out of you. I can hear him still
mm,
telling me these things. And he said,
mm,
so no, it's not, it's not too late,
mm,
And I had to really say to myself, I had to look in the mirror and say, Pam, at 60, that was when I was 60. I'm 60, gonna be 67 this year now. I would
mm,
say, girl, you are still beautiful outside and
mm,
inside. You got so much more to
mm,
offer. God's got a
mm,
person out there for you that's going to love you and treat you the way you need to be. You deserve to be
mm.
treated.
Oh, that's good.
Oh my goodness.
So,
So
so I feel that. Go ahead.
yeah. So
Mm.
it's never too late.
So I was going to ask you, what would you just say to encourage my listeners? But I think you just answered that question. I want you to tell my listeners how they can contact you and how they can get your materials.
Okay, well, the first thing I want them to do is to follow. Let's go to the website. So I got two websites. I got the PamelaGrove.com website. On PamelaGrove.com, you're gonna find everything that I do as far as the educational platform. I still do private patients, and I do, they have the pain kit out there, which is a whole big old another subject that is just so worthy of people checking out that pain kit.
Mm-hmm.
You got all the educational stuff of 40 something years, all combined with research, all in that one kit. And that's not being done anywhere. I'm going to say that again. And then you have the PamelaGroveBooks.com, and that's going to be where the two books are landing right now. I got the two books out there: Adam and Patty the Parrot, Bone Searching Adventure, and A to Z Muscle Excursion with Adam and Maya. Those two books published just in 2025, and we're working on the third one now. My daughter is the illustrator. I want to say that as well. And so that those books are there, and any homeschooler out there who and teachers. I just did a school today, and I did fourth and fifth graders, teaching them about the bones and muscles and in that. So that's another area right there. My emails, you can go to hello@pamelagrove.com. So hello@pamelagrove.com. But when you go on my website at Pamela Grove, there's going to be an area on the website whereas it'll ask you to leave your information, and it'll go through a funnel. And then it will send an email to me that way as well. If you want interested in me being a speaker, or if you just want to know more information about what my pain management courses and coaching is about, you can do it that way. You can follow me on social media. I'm on LinkedIn, Pamela Grove DPT, Doctor of Physical Therapy. That's what that means. So Pamela Grove DPT. I have two things going on YouTube right now. You have a YouTube for all my educational videos. We're putting the videos out there for all different types of exercise. I'm going through the whole series of exercise. You can go back and look at some of the older ones and the new ones to come. So Pamela Grove Meta. So Pamela Grove Meta. That's her YouTube, Pamela Grove Meta, at Pamela Grove Meta, META. And then we have the podcast, have all the ones started in 2024. And that's dealing with all subjects, autoimmune issues, caregiver issues, all kind of stuff with that. That's at, let's see, Pamela Grove 1078. So at Pamela Grove 1078, Pamela Grove 1078. I'm on Facebook, PDG PT59. I'm on Facebook, Pamela Grove Meta. Instagram at Metanoia, Metanoia Wellness Center. Metanoia, Metanoia Wellness Center. And I'm on TikTok at Pamela.Grove59. Pamela.Grove59. So
Mm.
these are some of my handles, so people can start to follow me. And please subscribe and follow. There's a lot more to come. If you want me to be a speaker anywhere or any type of coaching or consultations for groups, that's what my specialty is. I would love to be involved with that, and also with the children programs as well. So yeah,
Well, Dr. Grove, thank you. Thank you for
thank
sharing
you,
so
thank
much.
you,
And
thank you,
thank you for your truth, for your resilience.
thank you.
I appreciate you. And we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much for
Yeah.
having me, Jacquelyn, be blessed, okay? Thank you for
You
your
too.
persistence and your perseverance. I look up to you a lot for you sticking
Thank
in there,
you.
okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so
All
much,
right.
hon. All right, have a blessed one.
You
Bye-bye.
too.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
Bye-bye.